welcome to Krotoflik. My name is Chad Bradle, and today I'm going to show you how to build a camera crane for as little as $18 or just under $20, depending on what parts you use and what you decide to go with. I'll explain that later on when you're getting your parts. But for this build, you're going to be looking at building a camera jib that has the potential to reach approximately 8 foot depending on the tripod you mount it to. It is pretty portable. I'm able to fit it in a 99 Saturn SL, if that tells you anything. Just simply putting it through the trunk and folding down the back seat. The entire thing is less than 6 foot long, and this may very well be the cheapest, most cost-effective jib on the internet. So hopefully you guys like it. It gives you plenty of awesome and amazing shots. If you're wondering what kind of shots I was able to achieve with mine, you can check out the video to my side here. It's called Awake in the Woods, where I simply went out, took some cool shots with my friends, and that's what I came up with. Now in this DIY, since I had previously built this, I simply disassembled it, and I'll show you the assembly process, the materials you need and where to buy them, and the tools you also need to build this. I'll also show you how to go about drilling the holes in your conduit, and I'll explain how you should attach your PVC fittings to your conduit. Now the cost for this jib is for the jib itself. That's not including the tripod or the fluid head that I'm using. It's designed to attach to the top of your fluid head. It also doesn't include the weights, and currently behind me I have attached a cheap plastic tripod head onto the plate of the jib itself. So without further ado, there we go. Alright, so now when it comes to cutting your conduit, there's something you have to do in order to get two holes perfectly aligned, because you figure since you don't have two flat surfaces, you don't know where you're technically drilling straight on a circle, on a tube. So on conduit, there's actually a little lines right down the tube that you can align with. You can see them as I twist it. They start becoming quite apparent. What you're going to end up doing is choosing a line, measuring your point and putting your dot there, and then measuring to your next point and putting a dot on the exact same line. So that way you have a dot and a dot, they're both on the same line. That way you know they're going to go out the exact same direction as long as you're drilling straight. I used a 1/4 inch drill bit. It has to be a 1/4 inch. You don't want anything bigger because then your hole will be loose and it'll be all wonky. But you have to have a 1/4 inch drill bit. Doesn't have to be special. I think this is a wood bit. Let's say there's my dot, and that's where I want my hole to go, straight through the pipe. So what I did is I just took a Phillips head, put it right on that dot, took a hammer, whacked it once, maybe a little harder if the indentation isn't big enough. That way, your drill bit has something to follow. Because if you just try to drill on the edge, you're just going to do that. But if you have a little point for your drill bit, it'll stay there. Just like that. It won't slip off. So that's what you're aiming for. Make your point, hold your drill as perpendicular as possible to the pipe. Now I got my one hole through. Probably the next hardest thing is to try to get your bit to go perfectly through. Because if you're a little off one way or the other, it's going to be really hard to match that same angle on the other end. So that's probably the hardest thing you can do, going down and this direction. Yep, so battery died. So yeah, if you get these little burrs that stick out, you can either try sanding them off or maybe just taking a pair of needle nose pliers and just breaking them off and flattening them out. There you go, a hole through and through. And that's what you're going to do with all of your conduit. Drill a hole, try to get it even, drill another hole at your other point and try to match it up so they're in line perfectly. If you weren't able to get your PVC from Home Depot, then just take any saw you have, measure your points, and hand saw it. That's what I did. Or if you actually have a PVC cutter, that'd be way better, because then it'd have an even edge. Alrighty, so now that we got all our pieces set to go, I laid them out before you so you can kind of see how they're just going to piece together. And here we go. I'm going to start with the front handle, which will use your threaded connector, your 3 1/4 inch cut PVC length, and your slip cap. Now for the actual platform that your camera will sit on, take one of your 90s, one of your 2.5 inch PVC lengths, connect it in there, take another 90, just like that, 1 5/8 length, right like that, another elbow, this one will be facing down, take your other 2.5 inch PVC length, like so, 90, 1 5/8, another 90, this one once again will be facing down, and another 1 5/8, and that one, I guess doesn't really matter. And now, since I already have my threaded connectors pushed on here so good I couldn't get them off, essentially what you're going to do is you're just going to take it and connect that right into there, like so, and then take your other one, which is 1 5/8 that's in the threaded connector, and that's gonna go on there nice and snug. Now I kinda, yeah, it'll end up pushing on there. I don't have the channel locks on me, but I'll probably end up using channel locks and just tightening it in, and then also twisting it so that the holes align towards each other. Kind of difficult, like just with your hands, but it's essentially what you'll get right there. Alright, now go ahead and grab your 1 foot length rod and your connectors for the bottom, slide it up in, and then while pushing down on the rod, just start threading that around it. push down all the way, grab it right around there, just start tightening it. You want to get it really tight because you don't want it to spin or let go. So really ream on that. All right, now we're gonna put our end piece together. We'll just start with your slip cap and your 2.5 inch length. Push it in there. Your T, push it in the end. 1 5/8 inch length, push it in there. Your 2 3/4 inch length, push it in there. Your other T, 1 5/8 inch, 2.5 inch, and your cap. Now next, you'll end up sliding your threaded connectors onto the back ends of your 5-foot rod. So you got your front hole up here, and your 3-foot back hole here. So you'll end up sliding these on. I already slid this one on and I can't get it off, but this one's a little easier. Just take it and slide it right on, like so. Now something I did with this is to keep it from sliding off temporarily, I just took some tape and wrapped it right around here. And then when I pushed up, it won't slide off. So, but you'll probably end up using screws, and I will too at some point, to hold those on. All right, so now we're going to take our conduit box with the punched out holes. Essentially, we're going to take the ends, we're going to run them through the top like so, and we're going to do it kitty corner, one from the other, like that. Take our nut that comes with these connectors and make sure the tines on these, they have little tines that point kind of in one direction. Make sure they're pointing towards the conduit box. And just thread them on. Now, before you can tighten these down all the way, you're going to have to end up running your pipes and connecting them all together with your bolts. And then when you're all set, then you'll end up taking your channel locks and you'll end up squeezing these right down to the box. And I'll show you that once we get it all put together. Alright, so now let's go ahead and connect the bottom rail to our center post. Take a 4.5 inch bolt, slide it through this edge on the side so far in. Take a stack of your 1/4 inch washers. I used 8 for mine. They tend to vary in thickness, so yours might change, but I used 8. Now line up your hole, run it in so far, take another symmetrical stack, another 8, this might actually be, oh, that's 8 still, yep, 8, and run that through there. line your holes, and now you have your first stack through. Me, I did not bother putting a washer here because I'm not worried about it. But on this end, I did put a washer and my 1/4 inch lock nut. So there's number one, although I don't want to tighten it all the way because I'll need to flex the top part out. This is the bolt I want to use because I got my washers already ready. So I'll take one bolt, that bolt, run it through, take another washer, stick it on the end, run it through there, run it through there. Take our next 5-foot length, and you can see I'm kind of worn out here, but I had to in order to get it to fit properly. Take another washer, run it there, run our bolt on, or our rod on, take a second washer, and lock nut. And now you have the general construction of the center point done. Alright, now let's go ahead and attach our front system together. So we're going to take this. We are going to use our other 5.5 inch bolt, which I have my washer on the end here from previously. So we're going to take that. We're going to run that through the side like so. Now I'm going to take a stack of my 1/4 inch washers using, should use 8, or well, I'm using 7. I think you need 8, but I just happen to be using 7 for this one. Put it just on the end, and since this is the top, we're going to be running it in the top of our rail here, and we may need to adjust our front here to get things to fit together properly. Alright, so that's on. I'll take our other stack of 7, sit it right there. Take the other end of our 5-foot, run it in like that. Woo! Push it all the way through. Washer on the end. Wing nut. Alright. So the last one to connect, we're going to take our 2.5 inch bolt, thread it through the side of that, take a washer, put it in between, oops, like that, take another washer, put it through there. There we go. Just like that. And I didn't bother putting a washer on this because it's so short. Now, I can't remember if I got this bolt from Home Depot or Tractor Supply, but if you could get it at Home Depot, and I know they'll have the 2.5 inch. I don't know if they have that at Tractor Supply. But if you have to go with a 3 inch, then yeah, you probably want some washers there. So you just attach that. Now you have your basic mounting construction done. Now we'll go ahead and add the back handle. Since we already snapped it together and we already have these on, we can just put it right over top. And you may have to tap those with a mallet or something to get them snug, but yep, I got that end on. You got that all set. Something you could do is, this might be a good time to kind of tighten up your wing nuts a little bit. Not super tight, but tight enough. Take your channel locks. Now just take these, grab right hold of them, just start tightening it really good so it doesn't move on you. It'll be very bad. And try not to slip because you could cut yourself. I've already done it once, as you can see. Now if you want, you can slide your little handle on the end if you so wish to do so. Here's the plate that I used since I previously built this. Essentially what I did was I took it and I just by eye squared it up with the rest of the top here, and then I took a marker or whatever you have on hand and just put some dots straight down in the holes. Took it off, and then I took a very small drill bit, very thin one, and I just drilled 3 holes right into those dots. That way it was easy for my screws to thread right in. Alright, so now that we have our camera crane jib built, I'm going to show you how to attach the tripod plate of yours to the bottom of this. Seeing as how it's elevated, we're going to be using bigger washers. 7/16 washers are, I believe, what I got from Tractor Supply. So I'm using a mixture of washers between these and these. So this is from Home Depot and this is from Tractor Supply. I ended up using for a couple stacks to get as close as possible to the same height as these. I have a couple of the 1/4 inch fender washers and 3 7/16 washers. So that'll end up being one stack, and we're going to be going right down through these 2 holes here. Now, let's see. And for my other stack, I end up just using 5 of the 7/16 washers, and because things tend to vary a little bit in thickness, they end up being about the same height. Now we'll be taking our bolts that we got. I believe they are 1.5 inches with 1/4 inch regular washers on them. One is just a regular bolt, and the other one is the bolt that I had ground down on the edges that you saw previously, so that when I put it in my plate through the bottom, it will, if you turn it, you'll be able to slide it in. And that way I didn't have to drill out my plate. I didn't see any point in destroying my plate when I could just destroy a couple cent bolt. And I'll just leave the other one like that. Like so. So now, I essentially just took these, dropped them right down in like that. I'm going to be using a regular 1/4 inch nut and a lock washer also from Tractor Supply, which everything just kind of went together for the price. And then for the other side, I'll be using a 7/16 washer and a 1/4 inch flat fender washer. By feel, just Fed it up inside, right up over the bolt, and just try and thread on the nut. Alright, so now that I have the nuts just holding the washers in place, I'm going to go ahead and start tightening it up. Grief. Alright, so here's my plate attached fully. You can see it's flush with the bottom. It's actually touching on both sides of these metal stubs, and the washers are supporting the weight on the inside. And there's the washers down there, as you can see. Alright everyone, here it is, my DIY camera jib. Here you have the top where you'll mount your camera to this plate. This is the tripod head that I attached, but that's not included in the price. This is a handle I left on the front so I can easily maneuver where I wish my camera to go, because I don't have an external monitor and I want to be able to see what I'm recording. Then I'll have my camera out here and I'll be able to adjust my LCD screen out from my camera, my Canon T3i, and just watch that as I move it along. So this will help vastly with getting precision movements. Now on the back, for adding your weights, it's simply 3/4 inch PVC. I have the caps right here that'll come right off. Slide your weights on like so, just like this one. And then you just slide the cap on. So if you do not have any weights with a 1-inch hole in the center, then you can just simply hook right around here in the center, hang a bag, and drop whatever you need to as weights in the bag, and then you can balance it out. Another feature I added was the wing nuts on the side. This is going to allow you to increase the tension in case you have a little slack or it's a little too wobbly. And also, if you're not able to balance out the weights perfectly, you know, right now I only have a little weight here, but if I needed my camera to stay in place, I just start tightening some things, now it's in place. You know, if you want your camera to stop where you want it to, then you can do that now, simply by loosening and tightening your wing nuts. Now something I did to mine that brings up my personal cost a little bit was I added these 1/2-inch plastic caps that are in the electrical aisle to the top of the plate or the conduit, and that's just to give it a nicer look, and then I don't have metal edges to worry about. Well everyone, I hope you're able to follow along okay with this video. I hope I've inspired you to go out and make your own jib. And if you do, let me know. You know, share it with me. Share me any videos you make with it. I'd love to see them and know how it turned out for you. If you have any comments or questions that you'd like to ask me, post them below so when I respond, others can see it and, you know, possibly answer the same question they may have had. Now, I do have other designs for other DIYs, and designs like this one, they actually cost me a lot more than what you guys end up spending on them. I'm going to post a donation link in this video. If any of you feel that, you know, you were able to get a whole ton of shots with this and this has worked out really great for you, feel free to donate. Or maybe you'd like to see, you know, what I have in store for the future. I came up with a design for my own Steadicam, and fairly certain it'll be pretty effective. But right now I just can't afford too many DIYs at the moment. So unless I was to run into some money, then we'll have to wait on those until it's a must-have. But I hope you like this video. Comment, rate, like it, subscribe. And then you can see the kind of shorts I'm able to put together with the equipment that I build. Until then, take care, and I'll see you later.